Good morning, students, and welcome to Astronomy 1010, your first lecture of many this semester. I've got some fun things to talk to you about today, tell you about how this class works. It looks like we've got about, oh, there's Austin. All right. As promised, you will not be a troll since I let you in this class.
I'm here, not a troll today.
Austin took my Astronomy 1020 class. Oh, Amanda, hi, how's it going? It's nice to see some familiar faces here on video with me. Okay, guys, apparently you guys found the Blackboard page, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. And I'm hoping you looked at my little introductory text and maybe looked at the syllabus and the schedule. If not, those are things we should take a look at today. I think it's really important that we try. Oh, hey, hi, Austin's girlfriend. I forgot your name. Is it Jen or Jen? Yeah, okay. It's important that you guys try to share video with me, as this is an asynchronous course technically, but I decided to, have some time each week where we can share video and you guys can get a little bit of a live lecture. That turns out to be really important to keeping you sane and keeping you on task with things. And I will continue to do this insofar as at least 5 of you share your video and interact with me. So far, we've got a lot of folks today, so that's good. So let's make sure we have a few people doing that. Otherwise, the lectures have been recorded last semester and I could just ping them off at you. But, that's no fun. Okay, before we get started, before we get into anything, I want to start off by sharing my screen with you guys and just kind of navigating you around the business here in case you haven't done that before. Here's our Blackboard page. If you're not familiar with how this works, I think probably a lot of you, let's just do a quick show of hands. How many of you have had a Zoom class before this one? So I just want to see if I've got experienced hands here. Okay, so all of you have done that before. So, okay, great, Ryan. So that means then, over here on the left-hand side, that's where we're going to have the materials that we use for our class. The syllabus and the schedule, which I'm going to cover today, is here under syllabus and schedule. You might want to download each of those very important documents. Today, I'm going to be showing you some PowerPoint slides. If you ever need to look at them again, you can download them for your own personal self. If you need the lecture notes for, we're going to be taking lecture notes during this live class, but if you look over here, I have some crappy looking Roman numeral outlines of some of the things that we're going to cover each day. And it's irritating that we have to download it. I don't know why it's got to be like that. But just as an example, these are just kind of rough outlines of the things I'm going to talk about today. They're not extensive study notes, but it's just a little bit of what we're going to be going over. And then, of course, next week, when this class gets going for reals, we're going to be doing labs and homeworks, and you'll be able to find that stuff in the lab and homework tab. So this is stuff you probably already know, but I don't know, just in case anybody's a noob, I thought I'd show that to you. I've got some other things to talk to you guys about. Let's go to one of my slideshows here, function F5. Before we get started and get into all the astronomy stuff, I thought I'd just take a moment to see what you guys know so I know what I have to work with here. So let me see all of your little faces. There we go. That's nice. Suppose I asked you guys, what's the difference between astronomy and astrology? Austin is taking a class with me, so he should know. What about the rest of you guys, like Jonathan or Ryan or Valentina? Do you guys know the difference between astronomy and astrology? Doesn't have to be fancy, just what you heard on the street.
Astrology comes from almost like mythology. It's not really a science per se. Astronomy is the study of actual like stars and planets and things like that.
Okay, you're right that astronomy is a science. Astrology is not a science. And astrology, I suppose, is somewhat related to mythology. Certainly, the names of the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, they were named after gods because the ancient Romans and the ancient Mesopotamians, they thought of them as the gods. They thought those were their gods floating around the sky. So there is a connection between astrology and mythology, but astrology today, it takes on a more particular meaning. This is, I wanted to see what you guys knew about it. I know you guys know about it because when I'm out drinking at the bar, you come up to me and you say, "What's your sign?" And you show me your co-star or something. So you guys know what astrology is. I think a lot of you do. Let's go ahead and take some notes. Because I'm going to try to conduct this class in a way where you won't necessarily need the book if you carefully follow what I do. I'm going to be taking some notes on my dry erase board back here. And when I take notes, I think it's a really good idea if you take notes because you're going to want to be studying from this, especially if you ain't the reading the book type, which, let's be honest, I know you're not. Okay. All right. So right now I've got you guys in the kind of the classroom view where I can see all your little faces and I can see Jonathan eating some fresh melon there. That looks really tasty. Oh, some pineapple. Okay, so I'm going to go into locked speaker view. So just in case y'all don't know how to do the Zoom thing, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little button that says view, and you can click it to go to speaker view. And then if you double click my face, it will lock speaker view so that you can take some good notes. Can everyone out there see this stuff? This is legible to you? Okay, good. So let's do some notes. On one side, we've got astronomy. And on the other side, we've got astrology, all right? And as, who was that young man? Where was he? Oh, Ian. As Ian pointed out, astronomy could be considered a science. There are actually different types of science. Astronomy has aspects of a physical science. It also has aspects of a natural science. And there's a slight difference between those two things. Historically, natural sciences were ones where you could only observe nature. Like if you're Charles Darwin on the HMS Beagle and you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turtles on the Galapagos Islands. A natural science is one where you can observe things like mountains and stuff, but you can't manipulate them. A physical science like physics or chemistry, that's where you kind of put some goo into an Erlenmeyer flask and you set it on fire and you experiment and manipulate the materials. I suppose historically, astronomy was more of a natural science because you could only observe the sun and the planets and the stars, but you couldn't taste them and squeeze them. But as you will discover in short order in this class, today we have rovers that drift across the surface of Mars. And we even have this badass probe known as the Parker Solar Probe, which is actually, can I get a little animation here of the Parker Solar Probe? It's a spacecraft which is currently on a journey to fly through the bloody atmosphere of the sun and just taste some plasma particles from the outer corona of the sun. So if you think about it, today, astronomy is very much a physical science because we can collect plasma particles from the sun and analyze them. Of course, we still do lots of observations through telescopes, and you'll learn all about that. What about this astrology stuff, though? The mythology I didn't like so much, Ian, because mythology reminds me of religions. And religions...
Well, sorry.
Yeah. No.
I just when I said mythology, I didn't literally mean like Greek Roman mythology. I meant like it has its own like belief system based off of like alignment of stars and things like that. So it's not really
right. So what's the idea then? So the stars align, and then what do you believe?
That for some reason affects the personality a person has if they're born under those.
That's exactly right. Okay. The premise of astrology, which I think is worth writing down, goes like this. The location of the sun against the background stars on your B day, the location of the sun against the background stars on your B day will determine your personality type and or your destiny. I'm going to bring the lights up just a little bit. I think it's important that you guys write this down so you understand just what it is that you're pretending when you do this stuff, when you read your horoscope, or when you decide whether or not to wash your hair based on whether you're Pisces or Capricorn or something. Here's another way to look at it. Let's get my slides here. I like to think of your everyday astrologer as someone who looks like this. Okay, so this is a picture of what an astrologer looks like. All right, and the message of astrology goes a little bit like this. It goes, everything is going to be great, and you will be rich. Okay, so that's what astrologers look like. And you know, here's a picture of what I think your everyday astrologer, I'm sorry, your everyday astronomer looks like. Okay, so this is a famous astronomer. This is Edwin Hubble, who is known for measuring the velocities of galaxies and discovering the expansion of the universe. And the message that astronomers have for you is like this: we're all going to die when the sun enters its red giant phase and it swallows the Earth. So you can see that right away, the message of astronomy is not as uplifting as the message of astrology, right? They're not, one is not as happy as the other. And despite this, people get these things confused, right? You can read about astrology on your CoStar app or in your local newspaper or magazine. And astrology columns have all kinds of interesting things to tell you about how to balance your spirit and your body and your mind. And when Uranus moves into Pisces, expect the unexpected, okay? On the other hand, you can read articles about astronomy in what's called a peer-reviewed journal, such as Science or Nature or the Astrophysical Journal. These are more expensive magazines that take a little bit more training to learn how to read. And the threshold for publication is different as well. It's much harder to get an article published in Science than it is in Dell Horoscope. And despite some seeming similarities, these things are often getting confused because of this. This is what is known as your horoscope. Okay, these are 12 or 13 constellations that are important both to astrologers and to astronomers. And you guys have, I know you know about these because you talk to me about them when I see you out in the street. Tell me about your signs, right? Like Taurus and Gemini and Cancer. These represent actual real constellations on your nighttime sky. I'd like to teach you about those constellations with time. And yet, these do not represent all of the constellations on the sky. Why don't we put Austin? Are you still there, buddy? Austin, you know.
I'm here.
All right, so let's see what you learned. Do you remember how many constellations there are in the entire nighttime sky?
In the entire nighttime sky?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it depends, you know, where we are in the sky, and there's
No. What? That's not how it works, right? Look, let's get my globe out here.
To a great start.
You're on Earth, right? And if you look out into outer space, there's a limited number of directions you can look. So you can look up towards the North Pole, you can look down towards the South Pole, you can look this way or that way. I'd like to say something simple like you can look in 360 degrees, but this is a sphere, not a circle, so it's a little more complicated. You can look out into 4 pi stradians, but there's a limited number of directions you can look from Earth. And the body of astronomers, the International Astronomical Union, and the astronomers that have existed for thousands of years have kind of blocked out the sky into a number of territories. I thought, Austin, that maybe you'd remember the total number of constellations, but I can see you're not as cool as I once thought you were. That's all right, you know. I don't suppose anybody else knows how many constellations there are in the nighttime sky. Or maybe Philemon, who is taking both of my classes. And so he gets a double dose of my bullshit this week. Philemon, do you remember? I don't know if he can hear me. Hey, Philemon, I'm talking to you. Right there. I guess not. 88. 88 constellations. Oh, 88 constellations in the nighttime sky. Geez, I'm going to have to work on you guys. All right. 88 constellations. So I guess the thing I'm trying to ask y'all is this. If there are 88 constellations in the nighttime sky, why the shit do the astrologers only care about 13 of them? Why the obsession over these 13 constellations? Why does everyone care so much about Gemini and Sagittarius and Libra? Why doesn't anyone care about Camillo Pardalis?
Oh,
Why
I'm a
does
Libra.
anyone well, well, I'm a Vulpecula. So how do you feel about that? See, I don't limit myself to your pedestrian pissant zodiac constellations. I've got more obscure delights. Why do you think these constellations are important? That's the question I'm trying to ask you. I'm wondering if any of you astrology worshipers out there know what the hell you're talking about. Why do these constellations matter to the astrologers? Can anyone tell me that? See, Austin just said he's a Libra, but he doesn't even know what the hell that means. Why Libra? Why not Ursa Major? Why can't you be an Orion? No? How many trolls have we got out there? You know, the people who hide in the background, Amanda, these are people who I call trolls. And I bet how many students do I have here? Let me show the trolls. I want to see just how many. Wow. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 of you. Oh, wait, there's even more. There's maybe 30 of you here. That's pretty cool. And none of you 30 people know what the significance of those constellations are? Doesn't anyone want to talk to me? It gets lonely.
What, you mean the fact that they follow like 12 months, 12 constellations? And they follow the time of the year, so people follow that?
Jonathan, that's really close. So Jonathan has made an important observations. There's about 12 constellations and there's about 12 months of the year. And you're right, it has to do with dates, but you're still missing one last little, the very final piece of the jigsaw puzzle. What do these constellations have in common? Maybe I should show you a picture. Maybe I should show you a diagram to help you understand.
Rotation, they follow the planet rotation?
Not exactly, because remember the planet rotates once a day. But Jonathan's correct observation, there's 12 of them.
Around the sun.
Yes, that's it. I am impressed, Jonathan. I am extremely impressed. It's because those constellations are the ones that the sun travels through. That's what makes them special, both to astronomers and to astrologers. If that's confusing to you, maybe one of my diagrams would help here. Let me just scroll along to slide number 51. Boom, 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 boom. As Earth travels around the path of the sun, it does so on a circular orbit or quasi-circular orbit. And that circular orbit stays fixed in its orientation in space. So what's happening is, as Earth is traveling around the sun, we see the sun throughout the year traveling through 12 particular constellations. At least it used to be 12. Maybe if you went back 1,000 years ago, it would have been 12. But because of this weird kooky thing called the 26,000 year precession of Earth's axis tilt, over time it changes. And today the sun actually drifts through a 13th constellation. Do you guys know what the name of the 13th zodiac sign is?
It begins with an O. I remember that.
Ophiuchus. I say Ophiuchus sometimes, but I think it's Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is the 13th zodiac sign. In fact, So you can see what's happening here as Earth travels around the sun throughout the year. And it was Jonathan's good idea to think, 12 months, 12 constellations. Is there a connection there? You bet there is, sir, because as the Earth is traveling around the sun, we're seeing the sun projected against different constellations. Now, this can get pretty confusing, as you're going to discover in your first couple of weeks. There are multiple rotations of Earth, and there are multiple trajectories of the sun. As you all know, or I hope you know from living on planet Earth, each day the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. That is its daily motion, which we call its diurnal motion, okay? I'm not talking about the diurnal motion of the sun. I'm talking about the yearly drift of the sun, which is much more subtle to notice. You actually have to take notice what constellations are up in your sky at night. We're going to spend some time learning how to understand all this. Why don't we start by taking a damned vocabulary word? Why don't we get our money's worth here? And I want you guys to write down a new vocabulary word. It's called the zodiac. The zodiac are the
So I have a quick question.
Yes.
So how come zodiac signs they don't start like January 1st to January 31st, you know what I mean? They start like in the middle.
Good question. That's because how do I want to do this here? It's because we mark the passage of time from the spring equinox, which occurs on March 21st. Timekeeping turns out to be wicked complicated because there are all these microscopic drifts of the Earth, of the planets. There's little wobbles that you don't notice on a daily basis, but build up over hundreds of years. But I think the simple answer to your question is all right. There's a couple of different answers to your questions, and actually they're going to come up in our second lab next week. One of the reasons, who asked me that question, by the way? I'm trying to learn your names and voices. Who was talking to me?
My name's Yudi Smar. You could just call me Yudi for short.
Okay, Yudi, are you a troll?
If you mean by the black screen, yeah.
Okay,
I'm at work right now. That's why I'm
that's
not.
okay. All right, I just, anyone who doesn't share video is a troll. Okay, so you're a troll.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
Yudi, it's a damn good question, Yudi. And Yudi, I've got a couple of different ways to answer it. One reason is because we start the spring equinox and the fall equinox and the summer solstice on the 21st of the month. The other reason is that the boundaries of constellations are wicked crazy and kooky, right? And they're kooky because we draw these territories that are kind of like states on the sky, and they surround the constellations. So what's happening, let me see if I can use my annotate tool here. Let's have some art time. Let's say you're the sun and you're drifting through the sky. The date that you cross the boundary from one constellation to another will kind of depend upon whether it's a skinny constellation or a squat constellation and so forth like that. So when the sun is here, it could be October 7th. Well, okay, the sun doesn't drift through Orion, so this isn't the best constellation. But the boundaries of the constellations are weird, so the dates are weird. That's the simple answer to your question, okay? But more of that will become, here you can see the sun drifting through the constellations of the zodiac. Here it's in Pisces. Here it's traveling through Aries. In fact, one of our labs that we're going to do together, Yudi, will actually involve taking my celestial sphere and pushing the sun as represented by this ersatz yellow globe, and we will drift it along the dates of the ecliptic or this through the zodiac, and we can actually take note of the exact dates and times where the sun crosses through those constellations. In fact, it turns out that here's one of the funny things about this, right? Most people, when they cast their horoscope, like when you're looking at the dates of where Gemini begins and ends, it's actually based on a 500-year-old book called Ptolemy's Tetrabiblos, and those horoscopes are cast for the year 500 AD. Actually, it's much more than 500 years, right? It's like 2,000 years. So it's the zodiac signs that you're worshiping are 2,000 years out of date, And because of the gravitational torques that the moon exerts on Earth, the sun today actually drifts through some different constellations. So for instance, if you think you're a Sagittarius because you were born in December, you're probably actually an Ophiuchus because the sun has drifted a bit during those 1,700 years. So it's all kind of crazy shit. It doesn't really make any sense if you look at it closely. So the thing about this statement, the premise of astrology, this is the point that I'm trying to make, is that this statement is based on physical, observable structures in your universe, in your backyard. The sun is a physical object which we can observe with our eyes and chart its position. The background stars are physical objects. Your birthday is a historical fact that can be looked up in any town hall record. And if you pay attention to psychology, the noble discipline of psychology sometimes attempts to measure certain personality types. And your destiny, well, wait till you die and then we'll ask what you did and then we'll know your destiny. These are things that you can investigate. And if you actually go out and compare the position of the sun against the background stars on your birthday, and then you compare it to things like personality types and destinies, it turns out that a careful study will quickly reveal that there is no relationship whatsoever between your zodiac sign and your personality type, okay? So this is essentially a false statement. And because it's a false statement, because astrology makes predictions which are inherently not true, philosophers certainly cannot classify this as a science, but philosophers also cannot classify this as a religion or a mythology because it doesn't really advise you on any spiritual or moral matters. And therefore, astrology has been dubbed by philosophers as a pseudoscience. And anyone who believes in astrology is a hallmark of an uneducated person who really doesn't know nothing about nothing. Okay? I'm giving it to you straight here, guys. You don't want to be in this camp because it just screams, I am ignorant. Okay? You don't want to do that. Unless you like going around worshiping false things and believing in things that aren't true. There's lots of people who have that, you know, predilection. You don't want to
I'm
be.
laughing because I have my zodiac constellation tattooed on me. Tattoo. And
Well,
when you put up the picture,
There's
Maybe-
always one, Professor.
there's more than
Listen,
one. There's
the
more than one.
constellation's right, but it's like flipped.
Okay,
Like
well,
it's like mirrored.
Amanda, remember that these are also constellations, and that's still a cool thing to have tattooed. I approve of getting constellations tattooed.
The constellation's wrong, is what I'm saying. Like it's
Kyle, I'm wearing
it
this.
should be this way and it's that way.
Well, you can adopt any
Yeah.
constellation you want, right?
Yeah.
Professor, maybe we should show them the chart of where, like on their birthday, what constellation they would actually be.
That's a great idea, Austin, but don't steal my moves because I'm gonna do that next week or the week after next week, but that'll actually take a little bit of time, and I think this hour and a half is going to go by fast because I've already burned a third of it here. So yes, Austin, I promise to do that, but let me get to it a week from now, okay? And that'll be a fun time for all of us. And who knows, Amanda, we'll see exactly where that sun lands, okay? So guys, in any case, I don't, the whole purpose of me having this discussion is just to make sure that for those of you who have not had a course with me, that you understand what it is you signed up to learn about. You signed up not to learn about your horoscope. You signed up to learn about this kind of stuff here, okay? Let me introduce you to some real ass shit in nature. This is a picture of the Horsehead Nebula, so named for its seahorsey-shaped cloud of hydrogen gas. This is the real universe. It's way weirder and creepier than anything you could have imagined. And most of the universe is full of giant spheres of radiating plasma and hot hydrogen gas and cold, dark clouds of molecular hydrogen. This is what reality is really composed out of. And dang, that's pretty weird. We ought to find out what that's all about. And that's what you signed up to learn with me this semester. So without further ado, whatever you're planning on learning, let's start off by this important statement. Astronomy does not equal astrology, and you are here to learn about astronomy. So welcome to our course. Welcome to Astronomy 1010, the solar system, where you're, going to be learning about planets in the solar system. Now, a quick word for people like Austin and Philemon, if Philemon is still back there. Oh yeah, he's still back there. The beginnings of my courses seem very similar, and for the most part they are. They branch out over time, but if you pay close attention, you'll discover there are subtle little differences that I'll interject. So it won't be a complete waste of your time attending these lectures, okay? That's just a note. Oh, and I guess, Amanda, you took my 1020 class back in the day too, although that was a little while ago. But those of you who've had a class with me, the beginnings of this course are similar to the other one, but they drift over time, and there'll be some stuff that you haven't learned about, like especially next week when I get into timekeeping. So pay close attention because there'll be stuff for you guys too, okay? The rest of you are all pretty new to the game, and there'll be lots for you to learn. We're going to learn about the solar system. And oh, by the way, this is me if you don't know who I am. I'm Brendan Britton, and I'm a professor here at CCRI. Here's an action shot of me at our Margaret Jacobi 16-inch telescope. I would love to be able to take you out and look through this thing. That's usually one of the best moments in this class, and we're totally not going to be able to do that probably because of COVID. Unless they get the well, we'll see. If the vaccine gets out, I am committed to taking you guys out and showing you this, looking through the telescope. It's one of the best parts of the class. But I'm currently have like a cease and desist order because the administration doesn't want me to affect a bunch of people or something, which is reasonable. I'll have to see how this goes. I'm hoping as the months go by, things will get better, and then I can take you guys out to see this thing. That would be great. In any case, enough about me. Who are you? I know a couple of you, but whoever you are, I hope you come to class every day with a calculator and a positive attitude. Let's just talk a little bit about this synchronous versus asynchronous thing. Many of you signed up for an asynchronous course, which is fine. I made this an asynchronous course. And that's because, as you saw, I am recording these, and you can basically watch them at any point during the week and get your work in by Saturday, all right? However, I've already had these videos recorded from last semester, so my job was sort of done. I didn't have to be doing this. I could just fire the videos at you, and then I could go do whatever it is I do, like, I don't know, play with globes, okay? So I don't think that's good for you. I think it's good for you guys to come to Astronomy Church and commune with me and take some notes and be able to interface with me. And so long as at least 5 of you show up and share video, so I'm actually interfacing with a real human on the other end, or real humans, then I am totally down to meet Mondays and Wednesdays. We'll do lecture first for an hour and a half, and then on Mondays we do the lab. On Wednesdays, we do our homework together, and then all of the work is contained in these sessions. So that'll be good for you guys, especially if you have busy schedules. I'm assuming that you guys are showing up here because you find that useful. If there comes a point where you don't find it useful, well, we can watch the pre-recorded videos. Ian, what do you think about that?
Well, I wanted to check because I also have another class around the same time on Mondays.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna be able to attend Wednesdays, but I know you said the labs are on Mondays. Is that gonna be like doable?
It'll be very, very doable, and I'm sure many of you have similar questions. So let me explain how this works. I'm recording this video, and after, we're not gonna do a lab today, but after lecture, when I end the video, it takes about an hour for me to process the video, to render it into an MP4, and then I put it right up on my YouTube channel where you can see the videos that were done that day or from earlier. And I post it to the Blackboard as well. So Ian, let me explain how this would work on a Monday. Let's say you can come for the first, I don't know, half an hour before you have to do your other thing. You could join us and participate at will, and then leave when you have to leave. And what you would do is, if you wanted to see today's lecture with your actual classmates from this semester, which I'm sure would be a little bit nice, what you would do is you would go over to Blackboard. You guys can see my screen right now, right? And like yesterday, for instance, with Philemon, I had a 1020 class. And so you guys will notice really quick if I go to my 1020 Blackboard that, boom, I posted last night. It came up a little bit late, but I posted, come on, buddy. This is, Blackboard sucks. We all know that. Let's see. There you go. So you can see right there on the Blackboard from my yesterday's class, that's the video I made yesterday. But Ian, if for some reason that video is taking a while to get up, you could even watch, I've posted all the videos from last semester, which are approximately the same. So you could even go back, where is it here? And I have the same lecture from last semester and the lab. So here's lecture 0, lab 1. So you'd be able to watch the old one. If basically, if it's taking too long for today's video to get up and you want to get back to it, you could even watch last semester's. It'll be about the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm assuming the lectures I checked, I actually tested yesterday and I looked at how my yesterday lecture for AS1020 compared to last semester, and they were almost the same. So the only difference is there is some value to kind of getting to know your classmates and talking to each other. Austin's class last semester had really good class cohesion and they all interacted with each other, and it really made the semester fly by and made it fun. And it can also be helpful, as you guys know, because you can say, what the hell did he say? Or what's the answer to number 27 or whatever you do, right? So it might be nice for you guys watching later to try to watch the videos of your current classmates. But essentially the lectures are almost identical to the ones from last semester. So does that answer your question, Ian?
Yeah, pretty much. The only other thing is like, so the lab, it's just going to be something that you go over during the class.
Yeah, so what happens is I stole all of the equipment from my labs. You can see my cart of fun toys there from CCRI when this shit went down. And I set the labs up and I use my phone as a remote camera and I kind of work through the labs, and you guys will just follow along and kind of copy what I do. Sometimes I'll make you read the numbers and stuff like that to make it a little more interactive. Labs are tough. Labs are something that ideally you'd want to be doing like in a laboratory with me and touching telescopes and stuff. That's part of the fun of a hands-on science class. I'm doing the best I can, but what I'm really trying to make it is not a pain in the ass for you. So you can just watch the video, Ian, write down whatever I tell you to write down, and you submit that and we're good, okay? I think hanging out with me and learn is part of the process of learning. So I don't need you to go and do a whole bunch of stuff after that. You'll find it's very convenient. So as long as the video's there, you watch the video, you do whatever I say, you submit it, you're good. And by the way, there are some books for this course. We're going to go over that in a second. All right, yeah. Let's talk about that stuff, okay? So did you guys, some of you said that you've looked at the syllabus for this course. So once again, if you showed up late, if you click, you don't have to do it now, but at some point, click on syllabus and schedule, and you'll get the two most important documents that I have to give you. Let's take a quick look at them, okay? So this is our syllabus, and it has some important and useful stuff. It tells you the name of our course. By the way, I don't know if you guys realize this, but I have 168 students this semester. That is freaking nuts. That's a lot of people to keep track of. So if you write me an email and your name is Brianna and you say, hey, it's Brianna, I'm in your class, I'm going to be like, what? I don't know what class. So you have to say, hi, I am Brianna. I am in Astronomy 1010. And even better if you give me your section number. Some of you are in section 001. Some of you are in section 002. Some of you are in section 104. Do you guys, Brianna, do you know your section?
No.
Okay, so that's something you're going to want to figure out, not right now, but at some point by looking at your schedule. It'll tell you which section you're in. And I need you to put that on all of your emails to me and all of your documents, just so I can keep track of you, okay?
Like the CNN number?
Not the CRN number, but let me just show you because it's not too hard to do that. Let's see if we go to
104.
You're 104? Wait, was that Amanda? Who said that?
Yeah.
Amanda, okay.
Yeah, Amanda.
Yeah. And so the way I would have to find out, which is irritating with so many students, is I'd go to my summary list of class students, and then I would pick the semester, and then I don't know, Brianna, let's see if we can find you. Here's section 001. Your last name, so you're not in 001. I don't want to have to do this for everybody because it's really irritating, but you can look this up on your class schedule. Okay, so Brianna, you're in section 002. So the
Okay.
way we just did that with Brianna, I need all of you to figure out what your section is so that when you write me, I know who you are, okay? Please know that information. Okay, so let's get back to the syllabus real quick here. Okay, there's ways for you to contact me. Here's my name, here's my email. Since you can't visit me in my office, I'm giving you my cell phone number. I'm not worried about that. You can call me, you can text me if you have issues, that's fine. There's really no rules. You're just gonna have to put up with me if I'm in a grouchy mood or something, but usually I'm not. So this is just another way for you a modern way for you to get in touch with me if you're having an astronomy emergency. This is how our lecture lab and office hours are going to be scheduled. Okay, so I wanted to say something about the times. Because it's an asynchronous course, and I also wanted to have a live session so that those of you who like the live thing can get that, I had to make up and pick a time. And with 168 people, there's no way I was going to pick a time that would satisfy everyone. I'm sorry, Ian, that it conflicts with the other courses. So what I did is I picked a time that works good for me, okay? And I'm not an early morning person. That's just never been my style. So I'm not going to hold this class at 8 a.m. If you guys have a slightly better time that you can somehow collectively agree on, I'm open to drifting it maybe an hour or two earlier or later. I figured most people would not want to have the class at 11 p.m. or later. You know what I mean? So noon just seemed like a normal ass time to hold the class. Unfortunately, Ian, it sounds like a lot of other professors are also holding their classes in the noon to 3 block, right? So you guys are getting really screwed because of that. So I understand. But Ian, I don't know exactly what the solution is. And if you have an idea, I am open-minded to being flexible, all right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will be able to do Wednesdays though, so that's not a problem.
That's
So,
cool. And the videos will be there. I know it's more fun to participate, of course. But so you guys understand the dilemma that I have. And if you guys have suggestions, feel free to, I'll work with you, okay? Okay, but until such time as we have a better idea, I will hold the live class from 12 to 1:30 Mondays and Wednesdays. After lecture on Mondays, we'll do our lab together and you'll turn that in. On Wednesdays, we'll do our homework together and you'll turn that in. Now you have to understand what I'm doing for you guys here. I'm doing your labs with you and I'm even doing your homeworks with you. So that means once you're done with this class, you're done. You won't have to take anything home to well, you're already home, but you won't have to have it conflicting with I know you guys got shit going on. You've got families, you've got jobs, you've got service, you've got all sorts of stuff to do. And it's got to be insane trying to balance it all. I'm trying to keep it all inside the Pringles can. So we show up, we do our work, and we turn it in. Now, Ian, most of the people who do lab with me live that day will turn their labs in right after they're done so they don't forget. But if you can't get to it for a day or so, that's fine. You have up until Friday or even Saturday to get the lab and the homework from that weekend. I want to make this policy really clear because this is the only place we could get into conflict with each other. I do all of my grading on Sundays. It is a terrible, terrible day for me. It's an unhappy day. I get the schmondays, I get really sad, and I eventually drag my ass over the computer and I grade all 168 times 2 papers, and it's horrible. And once I do that, that week is done, all right? So you have up until Saturday to get that in, or since I'm not an early bird, you have even till Sunday morning. But once I grade all that stuff on Sunday night, that week's lab and homework are done. And I can't take it after that because there's just too many of you. Do you understand? Like I can't let people, if there's 168 people, you can't turn in all your work at the end of the semester. That's just not going to work. I don't have time to do it. So I need you guys to understand that rule, that you have a couple of days to wiggle around, but by Saturday, you have to have those 2 assignments in. Does that make sense? Honestly, I couldn't have made it any easier for you. All you have to do is just show up and write down the shit I tell you to write down, and then you're done. It's just like hanging out and watching astronomy TV, okay? So all you have to do to not screw up this semester is don't be a flake, okay? Don't be a flaky person. You show up and you do your job, and if you can't show up live, then you make time, a religious time, to watch it later, okay? Okay, so with that being said, your grade, which I'll talk about in a moment, is going to be 25% homework, 25% lab work, 25% midterm, 25% final exam. Now, the other document that I gave you is really important. It's our schedule. This is really important because it tells you like what you're going to be doing each day, and it tells you like what assignments are due when. This is a very important document. Today is Wednesday, January 20th. You're having your introduction to astronomy. We're not going to do a lab or a homework this week. We're going to start that for reals next week. Next week, our lab is powers of 10 and measurements, and our homework are 5 problems from the textbook, which I'll talk about now. Okay, the first thing is the text for this course. The official text for both of my courses is the Cosmic Perspective and the 9th edition, okay? This full text covers Astronomy 1010, which you're in, and my other course, Astronomy 1020. Since not many of you are taking both courses at the same time, the majority of you can get away with just the solar system component. So this is still the 9th edition, The Cosmic Perspective, the Solar System by Bennett, Donahue et al. This book will be a companion to the things I'm talking about, but here's the secret. You might be able to do this course even without the book if you show up and carefully take notes. And for the homework questions, we're going to be doing them together, and I've got scans of them. So last semester, a lot of people bought this, and then one student told me that the most important function it had was it helped prop up his iPad while he watched my lectures. Okay, so I don't know. Now, some people are the reading books type, and I applaud those people. That's nice to have this. But if you ain't the reading books type, which you really should be, but let's say you ain't, then maybe you might not even need to buy this because it's quite expensive. Here's a book you totally don't have to buy. Many of our labs will be exercises from the now out of print Wilson Astronomy Lab Manual. You will notice that every time we go to do a lab, so let's just take a look at my Blackboard for a second. For our lab next week over here, come on, baby. Look, lab 1, measurements and powers of 10. And look, do you see that PDF right there? That's the worksheet that we're going to be working from. And what you can do is you can take it and you can print it out on your printer and have that ready to go next Monday, and we'll work right off of those pages. If you don't have a printer, you're going to have to figure out how to print this out, or you're going to have to write it out by hand or something. It's going to be annoying. But that will save you the annoyance of having to purchase this book. You're welcome. I know. I'm pretty awesome, right? Let's talk about something that you absolutely do have to buy.
Professor, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
You are on the stellar system in your lab, so it looks different in the solar system one. You click back to your Blackboard.
You're right. Okay. Does it look different? It's not supposed
Yeah,
to.
I have lab 6 inverse square lab worksheet.
Oh, you know, I had this little thing where I copied some material from one class to another. Okay, so whoever you are, that's really important. I got to fix that. Wait, this is the solar system, and it says lab 1 powers of 10. Do you not see that?
I don't have that.
Can someone else be a third person here to figure out what's going on? Is anyone else in
I'm
their
in
Blackboard? Why do I? Oh, it's hidden. That's why. Sorry. When I close out the assignment, I hide them, and I forgot to. Okay, that's what's going on. Make a
Yeah,
bill.
mine starts at lab 6.
Okay, so why don't you refresh and look again?
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
you see it now? This is good. This is one of the reasons why having a little live session is important for little stupids like that. So that was totally my fault. I forgot to activate them.
Why did that nigga leave?
But you see it now, right?
It's cool.
Do you see it now? Whoever you are?
Yeah,
Who's-
I see it now.
Okay. And I'll do that for the first couple of homeworks too. Okay, so that's just my bad in the setting up of this course. I forgot to make those assignments available, but you should be seeing them now. And we'll make sure all that's up to date after class, okay? Okay, crisis averted. Let's talk about what you absolutely have to buy.
I already sent it to you.
Hey, okay, let's talk about the etiquette of this Zoom class. Whoever is in the Chatterbox Cafe back there, I'm gonna find you. You're probably a troll. You should mute yourself.
Where's it go?
Oh, where are you, you
Yes.
bastard? I'm gonna find you. Okay, so let's.
Where's it go?
Who are you?
Fuck that nigga. That nigga is not.
Hey, Barbacar, you're ruining my class, so I'm muting you. See you later. Okay, Barbacar, you're not my friend. Okay. Barbacar, get off the phone. Get your head back into the clouds here, okay? We got work to do. All right. This is something you do have to buy. This is a particular calculator. It comes in steel gray or fancy white. There's even a hot pink model. But you need to buy, that's okay, Barbacar, it's fine, I muted you. You need to buy a Casio FX260 solar calculator. This thing costs 10 bucks. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it at Staples. You can get it anywhere calculators are sold. You can get it on Amazon Prime for like 9 bucks, but you need to have this. Even today would be helpful, but you need it for next week. Let's see, for the human beings, how many of you actually have this thing today? Riley, Amanda, love you. This is great. That's it, Riley and Amanda? Austin's got his, of course. Ryan, okay, that's cool. So some of you got it, and I'm going to start training you on this today. This is no joke. Do you have one too, Jenna? What do you got? I saw something. Yeah, okay. That's my girl. All right, look. This is important. It's the only thing you really need to buy for this class is 10 bucks. And this calculator is powered by the sun, which is important for an astronomy course. Also, it has all the keys that you need in an easy to locate place. Most importantly, remember that there are literally hundreds of you on the other end of this camera. So I want to be giving one set of instructions for calculator use. This class will become chaos without it. I don't care if you took calculus and you think you're hot shit, okay? You get this calculator anyways. I've got stuff to teach you guys too, all right? You all get this calculator.
What was the specific name of the calculator again? Just so I can write it down.
Yeah, it's called the Casio FX 260 Solar. You can get the original or the Mach 2 version. If you look on Amazon, for some reason, the black one is like 20 bucks on Amazon, but the white one is cheaper and they're exactly the same. But here's the thing. If you're going to get the I think the white one is called the Solar 2 calculator. Here, Casio FX 260 Solar 2. Oh, there's the pink one. Nope, these aren't good. I sent a link to a few people the other day. Okay, whatever. This one's 20 bucks. Who cares? Listen, if you're going to buy it on Amazon, you need to use your Prime shipping. Oh, there's the cheap one. I'll put this link into the chat. So this one is only $8.50. That's less than the price of a pack of smokes, okay? And you too can get a Casio calculator and participate in this class. Where's that chat log? Boom. Oh, thanks, Molly. And there's a link. Listen, you need to have this calculator now, not 2 weeks from now. So if you have Prime shipping and you can get that in 2 days, fine. But I need you to have it by Monday. Will you all promise me that you'll have your shit together for Monday? Otherwise, you're going to slow me down and you're going to hurt yourself. Okay. So thank you for those of you who did bring yours, and the rest of you get it together. Okay. So let's talk about the class. What are we going to do? We are going to learn about the solar system. And luckily for you, the solar system is a very cool place to be. And it's a cool bunch of stuff for us to talk about. You're going to learn about Earth. That's where you live. And actually, Earth is one of the most fascinating planets in the solar system. That's a nice takeaway from this class, is that, you know, you start off trying to learn about planets outside of Earth, and then you look back at your own planet and you realize just how totally cool it is. You're going to learn about the moon, because everyone looks at the moon and sees the moon and loves the moon. Maybe even look through the telescope and see the moon, which is nice. You're going to learn about the sun. The sun is a vital and dynamic part of our solar system, and it causes the planets to change over time. And eventually you're going to learn about the 8 planets no longer featuring Pluto. Why don't we recognize Pluto as a planet anymore? Does anyone know?
It's too small.
Well, we always knew how small it is. The smallest of the or let me say it this way. It is smaller than any of the other planets, but we always knew that. What do you think, Jonathan?
It doesn't have its own moon.
Actually, Jonathan, it has 5 moons, including
It does.
Charon. Yeah, it has a ton
I
of
thought
moons.
that was one of the ones that I read.
Nope, it actually has 5. So Charon is its major moon, and Hydra and Nix and some of the others. Michael, what were you going to say? Oh, Michael, oh, you're muted. Oh, can you unmute yourself, Michael? Click.
Is this
There you
better?
go. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, it doesn't have its own gravitational lock with the sun. It's like a Kuiper belt object, I think, or something like
Yeah,
that.
so it is part of a nice use of vocab there. It is technically considered a Kuiper belt object, but let me augment a little bit about what Michael's saying. So we always knew that Pluto was small, and we knew it was kind of far away. Michael, I would correct you by saying it is gravitationally bound to the sun, but what you're talking about is its ability to sweep out the surrounding debris through its own gravity. So that's technically the issue here. So let me put this in a simpler way for everyone that can to understand. Back in the day, when Ma and Pa took Astronomy 1010, maybe like in the 1960s or something, or 70s or whatever, or I guess 80s, I'm getting old. It used to be that there were 9 planets, right? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And then after Pluto, we thought there was nothing, just the empty void of space until you get to the next star. But one of the reasons we thought there was nothing out there is because Pluto is far away and objects usually just shine by reflected sunlight. So there were things out there, but they were too dim and dark to be seen. As our telescopes became more powerful, we began probing the outer reaches of the solar system, and we began finding things that looked like this. They were basically icy, lumpy objects of ice and rock that were similar in composition to Pluto. They had similar sizes, about the size of our moon. Objects like Sedna and Quaoar, and who could forget 2003 EL61? These are what our classmate Michael referred to as Kuiper belt objects. And Michael, as we began to discover more of these, we became more paranoid that one day we would find one that was bigger than Pluto. And then we were worried, well, do we make that a planet or not? And sure enough, in 2003, we discovered this thing. Originally, it was called 2003 UB313. It was certainly bigger than Pluto, but maybe twice as far away from the sun. The astronomer who discovered it tried to name it Xena because he really liked the TV show Xena Warrior Princess. The International Astronomical Union said, no fucking way are we going to let you do that. And eventually this planet became known as Eris. Well, except we didn't make it a planet. And the reason we didn't make Eris a planet is because if we made Eris a planet and Pluto was a planet, we were worried we were going to have to make all these guys planets too. And a short calculation showed us that there were probably over 100,000 to 1 million of these icy objects. And that's when we said, okay, this is getting way too crazy. We cannot have 1,000,000 planets that are all like Pluto, and then these other 8 things that are bigger and weirder and stranger. So they decided to redefine what a planet is. And Michael, one of the new definitions of a planet is it needs to be able to sweep out the surrounding debris from its orbit through gravity, which sounds similar. It was close to what you were saying, right? It's the gravitational field, but not with the sun, but with the debris surrounding it. The idea being, if Pluto can't clean up its mess, then it's part of the Kuiper belt, not its own planet. And today, but Pluto is still cool and it's beautiful and awesome, and we'll still get to talk about it in this class. Today we recognize Pluto and Eris and this object called Ceres as dwarf planets, okay? Do I have a picture? I think. So for instance, many of you might actually have the question. I don't know if all of you guys know what the hell the solar system is. Does anyone out there think they can define the solar system? Like, not complicated, but what is the solar system?
It's, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head the actual written definition.
Right, but just in simple words.
It's the group of planets surrounding an individual star, in this case, our sun.
And the sun is included in the definition of a solar system.
Okay.
If I were to do a non-technical definition, Ian, I would say the solar system consists of, let me go back to red here. The solar system is the sun. It is the 8 planets. It is the dwarf planets, Pluto, Eris, Ceres, and a few others. It's also the asteroids in between Mars and Jupiter. It's also the Kuiper belt objects that Michael talked about. It's also another group of comets called the Oort cloud, which is scattered all around. And it's even the magnetic fields which surround the planets as well. All of that together constitutes the solar system. Mostly it's the sun, the planets, the dwarf planets, the asteroids, and the comets. But we even include a little bit of dust and stuff as part of that definition.
So would it be more accurate to just say the sun and everything in its gravitational pull?
Sort of, yeah. That would be a tricky definition because sometimes stars can cause each other to deflect a little bit, and we wouldn't want to include Alpha Centauri in the solar system, yet they may have gravitationally interacted. But yeah, if you wanted to keep it super simple, the sun and the debris around it is the solar system. So I'm cool with that. And that's what we're going to learn about this semester. And by the way, since we're going to be learning about this stuff, let me teach you something else you're going to want to know about. Math. Okay, so let's just have this talk right up front. This is a physical science class. And what makes science different than other disciplines is that science is concerned with the art of measurement. Okay, we're going to be doing measurements. We're going to measure the distances to planets. We're going to be measuring how massive they are and how strong their magnetic fields are. Anytime you start measuring things, you start collecting numbers and you get a hankering to do math. This does not have to be something that scares you or makes you afraid. I'm going to teach you math as we go. But we need to have math to make this class real. Astronomy without math is like gin and tonic without gin. Nobody wants that, okay? Or at least I don't. So you can't do this class without a bit of math. Now, you don't have to know much. All you've got to do is have a good attitude about cool shit in space and occasionally be willing to look at a formula with me, and I'll teach you how to do everything as long as you have this calculator. I'll tell you what buttons to push, you follow the bouncing ball, and you're going to learn some math. So don't be a lame ass about this. Have a good attitude about it, and you will discover that you can do this. It's not as hard as you think, okay? All you got to do is get the calculator. I'll take care of everything else. Let's also talk about how your grade is determined really quickly, okay? So showing up to lecture is worth 0% of your grade. That's because you paid me $550 to listen to me talk about icy objects near the orbit of Pluto. I thank you for your patronage. So if you show up, I'll try to teach you some astronomy. I'll tell you what I know, and I'll show you how to solve tricky problems. Things that you earn points for are lab. Lab is held on Mondays after lecture. I'll try to keep it short. We'll do a short exercise, a hands-on exercise together. You turn in your assignment right at the end. Each lab I grade out of 10 points, and it's due by Saturday or Sunday morning latest. On Wednesdays, we do our homework. Homework is graded out of 25 points, each homework, and they consist of problems from the back of the textbook. So your first homework assignment, which will be due next Wednesday, well, which will be covered next Wednesday, and will be due by the end of the week, can be found here under the homework tab. And like I said, some people were writing me emails saying, oh, Brendan, I don't have the book yet. No problem. I got you. If you click this here and open it in a new tab, I've scanned the questions that we're going to be covering. And rather than have you do the homework on your own, which would be very stressful, I'm going to hold an office hour session where you all hang out with me, just like in lab. You guys will take turns reading the questions, and I will show you how to solve them on the board. You will copy me, and you will turn it in, and you will learn in the process through imitation. Does that sound good to everyone?
I have a
All right.
question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing Mondays are labs, Wednesdays are homework. When you're covering these questions in the book, is that a different office hour? Like, are the office
yeah. So
I got a little confused on is that what you just showed us, is that part of our homework we're covering?
yeah, when I originally started holding this class, I had office hour sessions. And office hour sessions meant students could come and see me for help. And of course, many of them did, because this shit can get freaking confusing. And then one year I had a eureka idea, which was, let's not make office hours optional anymore. Let's just force everyone to come to office hours. And then everyone was really happy because we all did our homework in like 1.5 hours, and then there was no more stress. So office hours are anytime, because I was stupid enough to give you guys my phone number, right? You can just call me or whatever, I don't care. So office hours are all the time in a post-COVID world. But that session on Wednesday is homework time. And that's when I'm going to solve those 5 homework problems with you as efficiently as possible. So
Okay.
I would just, Molly, that was you I was talking to, right?
Yeah, correct.
Just think of Wednesday as something that you need to show up for 1:30. After class, we'll do our homework together. And then all
Okay.
your work is done for the week. Does that sound good?
Yeah, perfect.
And if you need to talk to me about other stuff like offline, we can have a phone call or a FaceTime or a private Zoom or something like that.
Okay, perfect.
So I probably shouldn't call it office hours anymore. I should just call it show the F up and do your effing homework time. Okay. That's what's up. Okay. I hope that makes things clear. The only parts of the class that you're really going to get major stress about, now that I've done the homework and labs with you, are the exams. And they are going to be scary. However, if you show up and you do your homework with me, they won't be that bad, because you'll be trained and you'll know what to do. So we have one midterm halfway through the semester, just before spring break, and we have one final at the end. And by the way, you've got to do the exams on those dates that I've specified, or at least by those dates, because I have grades to turn in. So our target date for the midterm is Monday, March 1st. You need to be there for that date. Last semester, people didn't show up. I gave them zeros. They did bad, okay? Please don't be like that. Don't flake on the bloody exam dates, okay? You can't do that. And yep.
I do notice that it is on a Monday. Is there like another day that week I can do it?
Oh, well, I'll probably give you the whole date. Okay, let me tell you the real deal. I'll probably activate the exam Sunday night, and I'll actually give you until Tuesday. So you'll have Sunday or Monday or Tuesday to do it. So does that de-stress you a bit, Ian?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I just don't want you like skipping that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'll do that so that you have a couple of days of wiggle room for those of you who have obligations on a Monday. All right. Okay. Remember, at the end of the semester, your grade is a number determined by how much work you do. I invented the rules of the game, and then I'm even here to help you like earn those points. You just have to show up and hang out with me, and then this class is going to be a breeze. All right. Just show up to the homework sesh, show up to the lab sesh, and then machete chop your way through the exams. It can be ugly. As long as you're doing this stuff, you'll totally pass my class. The only way you can fail this course is by getting zeros for homeworks and labs. So as long as you show up and hang out with me or watch the videos afterwards, it's going to be cool. All right.
About the exams, you said are we physically going like into take these exams? Is that how you guys have?
It'll be a multiple choice through Blackboard, and you'll sit there at your computer and cry as you click through the thing.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure we have to physically go into like someone watch us take. Okay, got it.
Yeah, no, I decided that I'm just not into police work. Like, if you guys want to cheat, well, be my guest. I'm hoping the test will be hard enough where you don't have time to do that, but I don't care if you cheat. I don't care what you do. Just get the exam done, okay? By all means necessary. I think it'll be impressive if you get many of those questions right as it is. But you will be trained. Well, actually, Austin, you took my exam last semester. How was it?
Yeah, you could cheat.
Okay. Right. So that's how it is now. Like, I'm not going to sit there for like 10 hours and like, hey, did you move your plant there? You know, I'm not going to do that. That's not what I care about. I care about.
No, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's really, really hard. But you know, if you need to like Google formulas or like some tips, you're not going to copy and paste answers. It's not a math class, but if you get like a 50 out of 100 though, it is curved too, I believe. So you'll do okay.
Yeah, you'll do okay. And I don't think I think, considering the way things are now, you should have the internet and your book at your disposal. Like I kind of designed it so that that's part of it. You can look stuff up, right? I think that's cool. So in any case, the exams will be a little bit of stress, but the rest of the class is not stressful as long as you show up. That's the moral of the story. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? I've got one little, let me see how I'm doing on time here. I've got about 15 minutes left, barely. Let me say something else, guys. It's really hard to listen to someone talk for like an hour and a half. I know that. I still think it's better for us to do these live sessions and try to interact with each other. It's definitely fun for me. I hope it'll be fun for you guys. I hope it'll keep you on task. But I know what you're going through, and I know it's tough. So we're just going to do the minimum of what's necessary to make it a good learning experience. I'm going to teach you one lesson today, a lesson on scientific notation, because we're going to need to use big numbers for this class. And how many of you have done scientific notation before? I want to see what I'm working with here. A little bit, sort of. I'm not saying you have to be good at it, but you've heard it before. Okay. Most of my students have had exposure to it, but need like a little refresher. Scientific notation is a skill you need to have, and we're going to use every single day from now until the end of the class. This class has numbers in it. Suppose, Michael, you had some cool things to say about the solar system earlier. Michael, if I leave the solar system, where am I? What's outside of the solar system?
I guess just the space between the galaxy, between the next solar system.
Between the stars, right? Between the next solar system and ours. Hold on,
Yeah.
function F5.4. One of the reasons I asked that question, Michael, is to make sure that we distinguish between solar system and galaxy, right? Your solar system consists of the sun and the planets and the debris around it. And if you leave the solar system, you'll find other stars. Our solar system is one star among probably up to 1 trillion stars that are all in orbit around some central bulge. And this swirling disk of gas and stars is called the Milky Way galaxy, okay? So a galaxy is a much larger structure than a solar system. Galaxies contain trillions of stars, each which have planets and debris surrounding them, okay? And since there's close to 1 trillion stars, that's one of our first big numbers for us to meditate on. So let's do a quick little lesson here, and then we'll end class for the day. Okay. So lesson 1 is scientific notation. In our class, that's how we do big numbers. And we'll start out as a meditation point with the number of stars in the Milky Way. One trillion stars. Now, Austin and Philemon and even Amanda are supposed to know how many zeros are in a trillion. How about you other folks? Do you guys know how many zeros are in a trillion?
12.
Very good. Who said that?
Michael.
Oh, thank you, Michael. I'm trying to learn your the timbre of your voices there. So let's write that down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stars. It's customary to put commas after every 3 zeros. So a comma, a comma, a comma, a comma. That's a big number. You cannot put 1 trillion into the Casio calculator. Let's take a look at how many digits we have to work with here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can only work with 10 digits. This has 13 digits, okay? So we're going to need a better method of punching numbers like this into our calculator. That's what scientific notation is for. Let's diagram this puppy out. The 1 is what we call the lead digit. The lead digit is the first number in your number, but it has to be a number from 1 to 9. No zeros. Then we have this bit here. This is the number of zeros. It's also referred to in mathematics as the order of magnitude of your number. Let's write that phrase down. It's the order of magnitude. Order of magnitude kind of means power of 10. It means how big is your number? Is your number of order hundreds? Is your number of order thousands? Is it tens of thousands? Is it hundreds of thousands? That's what order of magnitude means. Lastly, but not leastly, so I've got a little bit of glare that I'm trying to fix, guys. Hold on. We have this part of the number. This is the unit. The unit is the little tag which tells you what you are measuring. Units are of extreme importance in astronomy class. We will always aim to put units down with our numbers, okay? Okay, we're going to use powers of 10 to pack this number into a more compact form. And let's remember how those powers of 10 work from your math class back in the day. Remember that, let's see here, that 10 to the power of 1 is 10. If you want, you can think of it as 10 times 1, okay? 10 squared is 10 times 10. That's 100. 10 cubed is 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. 10 to the power of 4 is 10,000. Notice the pattern. When you raise 10 to some power, you get a 1 with that many zeros after it. So 10 to the power of 4 is a 1 with 4 zeros after it. You guys try. What is 10 to the power of 0?
1.
Very good. No, it's 1. It's a 1 with 0 zeros after it. In mathematics, 1 is the default number. 0 is not the default number. Write that down if you forgot your powers of 10, okay? I can use powers of 10 to pack these zeros into a convenient form. Let's watch. I'm going to erase this a little bit here. We'll write our lead digit down, 1. And then we'll pack the zeros into a power of 10. 1 times 10 to the 12. And then we'll write our unit down, stars. This is not a math problem. This is how we write down 1 trillion. There's a special button on your Casio calculator that you're going to be using for scientific notation. This key is the most important key. It's the EXP key, and it means times 10. So the way I would type this into my calculator as I do 1, instead of typing times 10, I just hit EXP and then 12. All right? So let's put that down so that we remember next week. We're going to be using our EXP key, which means times 10. Okay? So when it comes down to our calculators, we'll be typing 1 EXP12. However, when you write down the number in scientific notation, you're going to be putting in the times 10. Keep in mind that the display looks a little bit weird. The display is going to look like this. They don't put the times 10 in because the calculator space is precious. Mine says 1 times 10 to the 20. Sorry. You've got to you can see it like that on your calculator, but you have to put the times 10 back in when you write it down. That's really important. Let's make a very quick chart of some common powers of 10 that you're going to need to get to know. First of all, I don't want to go too fast for you guys. Does everyone have this written down? Okay, anyone need another second here before I erase? I want you to make a quick chart with me of some common powers of 10. By the way, while you're getting your calculator, it's a really good idea if like you could spend 99 cents and just get some cheap ass ruler that has metric units on it. These have centimeters and millimeters. See if you can get a little plastic ruler at Job Lot or something that has this. We're going to make charts and tables all the time, starting now. Make yourself 3 columns. One is for the name of your number. One is for how many zeros, the power of, the power of 10. And then the last will be for the metric prefix. You guys just learned about trillions. A trillion means 12 zeros, and the metric prefix for trillion is tera, as in a terabyte of hard drive space. How about a billion? How many zeros are in a billion?
9.
10 to the power of 9. Do you know what the metric prefix is? Anyone? Y'all heard about gigabytes before? You know gigabytes? The metric prefix is giga. Then there's a million. How many zeros in a million?
6.
10 to the power of 6. Metric prefix?
Mil.
Mega. Like a megabyte. Okay, we learning stuff. We getting our money's worth. And lastly, 1,000. That's 10 to the power of 3, or 3 zeros. What's the metric prefix?
Kilo.
Yes. Okay. Now, there are names for almost every power of 10, but these are the ones that you're going to see showing up all the time. So for you and I to be able to have an intelligent conversation, for starters, I need you to be conversant with these things. That's why we're making a table. And keep that table in your notebooks. Keep a nice astronomy notebook and keep that table handy because you're going to want to use that come exam time. All right. From now on, we will have a rule in this class. And the rule will go like this. Any number which is greater than 1 million, any number greater than 10 to the power of 6 must be in scientific notation. So when we do homework, you are allowed to write down 999,999, but as soon as it flips to 1 million, I want to see 1 times 10 to the 6, okay? All right. So believe it or not, today's an actual easier than most days. These classes are going to be a little bit of a slog, guys. It's going to take some time. In the future, when we live in a cyberpunk universe, I'll be able to connect my USB port to your brain port, and I can transmit all the astronomy information through a digital signal. But until such time as we are there and we're all cyborgs, you unfortunately have to learn the old-fashioned way by me talking and writing stuff down, and then you write that stuff down and think about it, okay? And it takes time to transmit information. Today, I decided not to hold a homework session because it's your first week and we haven't done a lab yet, and there just isn't enough time to teach you enough stuff. But next week, our lectures will be followed by labs on Monday and homeworks on Wednesday. I will continue to show up and do this live as long as you show up. As soon as less than 5 of you show up, I'm just going to make you watch the pre-recorded thing. So if you guys enjoy this interfacing with me, if that's useful to you, I will continue to do it. But hopefully, I think it's probably a good idea to do it if you have the time. Today, we won't be doing anything else. So this will end our class. Do you guys have any questions for me or things that I should have talked about or things you're confused about? We know what the... let me say one other thing, Ian, before you say something. You know what the secret to doing your class right is? It took me many, many years to learn this, okay? It's about routine, okay? Listen to this. It's about routine. You block off time, particular times of the week where you do this stuff. And one of the ideas of having this class live is it's social pressure for us to all be locked in. We listen to the lecture and then we do the work together, and it's annoying and it sucks and whatever, but we get through it. But if you break the routine and you're just like, I'll get around to this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's when the chaos creeps in and that's when the bad times happen. So even if you're not showing up live, and I'm talking to all you students in the background audience who are watching this later on at night, develop a routine, a sacred time to do your labs on Monday or Tuesday and do your homeworks on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. Develop a routine. That's what we're doing here. Okay, Ian, what do you think?
Just kind of a quick follow-up to what I was asking about earlier. Would you say that it's, because I'm definitely going to show up for Wednesdays, is it going to make less sense? Is it going to be harder to figure out and learn if I do the lab afterward?
I don't think so. I mean, you could find out by pre-gaming and watching last semester's. Remember, let me just show you that one more time. If you wanted to pre-game and see what we're doing that day, there's probably not enough time in your lives to do this because it's hard enough to show up for the work that we have to do. But remember, under announcements, let me just show everyone this. I'm going to post the video that we do in an hour, that we just did now, right up here in an hour. But underneath here, underneath my little stupid video, older videos from fall 2020, the lecture that we just had, this is the lecture there. And this is our lecture that we're going to be doing on Monday together, lecture 1, part 1, and lab 1. I think I'm pretty comprehensive to the point where you can just kind of watch it and follow along, and that's going to cover you. I think it should all be self-explanatory. But if it's not, Ian, fucking pick up your phone and give me a call, okay? I'm an approachable, easy to talk to person. I think so. You may catch me in various states of inebriation, depending on what hour you call me, okay? But I will do my best to talk to you. And you can also, if you're a more formal type, you could send me an email. That's cool too. I've been fielding emails all week now. So if something doesn't make sense, say, hey man, I'm watching this lecture and I don't know what's going on there, and I'll try to talk you through it, okay? But I think you should be able to just watch and follow along. It should be pretty simple. And Austin can verify that because he did this with me last semester. And Austin, you did watch the videos sometimes after when you were busy. Sometimes you had to watch later. Was it easy enough watching after?
I don't know. I skipped class a lot and then skipped through the lecture too, and I still did great. So
yeah, so don't listen to Austin. Actually, let's get rid of him. Okay, so why did I let you in this class? All right. Anyways, okay, guys. Let's see how it goes. But for the most part, here's your first assignment. Get the Casio calculator, have that for Monday, and show up and let's do this again. All right. Okay, so I had fun hanging with you. I'm going to stop the recording now.